All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing this word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who may have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. Now, what I want to get into today is respond, to two videos. All right, which Elder Yasha Wamba, was responding to the brother out in Houston. GMS Spiritual Temple 2 is his channel. Forget the brother's name off top, but extremely edifying brother, great teacher. And Elder Yasha Wamba responded to one of his videos going into, we have everything we need, okay? And we don't always get, all our wants, okay? And as we mature in Yahweh Shai, we understand that all we need is the essentials, okay? Because in Babylon, one of the tools of Satan, okay, to keep people enchanted is distraction, okay? And being occupied or too focused on everything we want, okay, that can amplify, all right, Satan having us distracted, okay? So the Lord, he intentionally, allows us, to have, certain things and doesn't allow us to have certain things because the Heavenly Father can see way beyond what we can see, okay? And there's certain things that we think, we should have, certain situations that we think we should be in, okay? You can feel entitled to particular things, okay? And the Lord deprives us intentionally to keep us tapped into the truth, So the Lord has a perfect balance of giving us our necessities, and maybe a few wants here and there to keep us balanced, okay, in the truth, okay? And the more, we tap into Yahweh Shai, okay, the more we just appreciate the necessities, and then when he does give us the, a want here and there, okay, we have the maturity, okay, to handle that want, because a want, all right, takes discipline. A lot of things we want take discipline. And a lot of times we don't have the discipline required to get particular things that we want, because everything is in this due season. All right. And we're going to get some precepts. And I want to get into this, because you hear this a lot, especially as, the economy, is shot, people are constantly downsizing, how they live, downgrading their lifestyles, to try to reduce, okay, the headache of this society, because this economy, all right, is trash, man. When it's meant to keep you on the hamster wheel, and it's meant to keep you, distracted, okay, and it's meant to keep you stressed out, okay, because Esau wants a society of stressed out, distracted, all right, zombies, man, okay. But you hear this term, being thrown around a lot, going into minimalist, okay, and when you go into that concept, this is really a lifestyle that's promoted in the scriptures, okay, because this lifestyle, this mindset of being a minimalist, which I've been tapping into a lot lately, but the concept of being a minimalist, complements, all right, the mission, the assignment that we're on, because we're pilgrims passing through, as the scriptures say, okay, we're pilgrims, all right, passing through. You see, this is not our rest, all right. We have that. This is not a place for us, to try to establish, legacy. Okay, this is not a place for us to establish, just this crazy wealth. Okay, this is not the place. Okay, to be overoccupied and business and trying to do too much. Okay, which I said I've been the ambitious brother before, you know, but now most of my ambition is geared towards the ministry now. You know, pouring into something that's eternal. Investing into the church. Investing in me so I can invest into the church. You see, and it don't take much to do that. It don't take a lot to invest into the church, to invest into ourselves. It don't take a lot. Okay, so when you go into a minimalist, it says is a person or artist who practices or creates minimalism, a lifestyle or aesthetic characterized by extreme simplicity of form and function, often involving the removal of excess to focus on essentials. The removals of excess to focus on the essentials, man. Okay? And the scriptures, they promote removing excess and focusing on what? The essentials. Okay? Let's go here. Let's get some precepts to bag this up. And then we'll go into some more of the definition. Okay? But when you go into, okay, the Apostle Paul, okay, when you go into Philippians, okay, Philippians 3:7, it said, but what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Hamashiach. Okay, or you read this in the NLT. I once thought these things were valuable because Apostle Paul was going into, his status, okay, as he was amongst the Sanhedrin, okay, which were the elite of the scribes, Sadducees, and Pharisees, to be a part of that Sanhedrin, okay. There was an elite class amongst Israel and came with, perks, particular things, prestige, you see. So Apostle Paul, he was amongst all that, okay. But as you read on, he says, I once thought these things were valuable, man. And there are certain things, that we thought was valuable, man. There's a lot of things that I used to put value in, man. I'm constantly just looking and constantly analyzing, my life. And, it's like a lot of things not valuable, man. Certain relationships have no value. And, even down to a relationship, like if a relationship has no value, I'm getting rid of it, man. Okay? If a pastime doesn't have any value, if it doesn't pour back into me, it's really not needed. Okay? So I'm always looking at things that, I once used to value. And it's like, man, this shit ain't got no value in it. And one thing that I hate more than anything is wasting time. If people ask, oh, what's your pet peeve? Man, I hate wasting time. I hate, being idle. Okay? Just doing something just cause, man. I've never been that type of person, man. So now, as I value time, more than ever, I'm analyzing, and there's a lot of things that's not needed. Certain bills that you got, like, man, I don't need this shit, man. Certain things, because there's a lot of things that we have in this society. We've been conditioned, to just have certain bills and this and that, and everybody different. I'm just going into my, personal rant. Everybody different. Being a minimalist can look different from everybody, but this is a mindset and a practice, that's beneficial. It has benefited me tremendously, man. Clearing things out, okay, lowering my overhead, okay, just worried about the essentials, man. You see? So going down, it says, I once thought these things were valuable, but now I consider them worthless because of what Yahweh Shai has done. And if we really believe in these promises, man, these temporal things and these temporal, situations that we in, they shouldn't have a bunch of value, man. Okay? Hey, the Lord feed us daily. The Lord clothe us daily. We have shelter. Okay? You know? And even in the discomfort, man, we still got peace in Yahweh Shai. Because it's not about being comfortable 24/7, especially as a man. you know? We, as a men, man, we should know how to live in discomfort and be good. You see? But this world has created, a culture of men that want to live this soft life. Okay, they want to be pampered, you know, metrosexual. No, nah, man, as men, we supposed to be able to deal with certain uncomforts, man. You see? You know, I done had to, a few months ago, man, I had to do some off-grid. I had to spend a couple of days off-grid throughout the week, man. Okay? And it just made me appreciate, the simple things, okay, that's on the grid, and being without shows us that we don't need that much, man. Okay? But this is a society where everything is based off access. Okay? People got just excess of everything, everything at their fingertips. You see? Yeah, you got apps now to where not only the people go grocery shopping for you, but they come to your house and put it up, and it's like, God damn, you know? And this is the society that Esau wants, because when he snatches away the comforts of this society, people are going to go crazy, and he's going to have all the leverage, because to get back to those comforts, people are going to bend the knee to their heel, okay? Because people are pampered, okay? People are overly concerned with wants and don't appreciate, the essentials, okay? But the Apostle Paul, when you keep reading, says, yes, verse 8, yes, everything else is worthless when compared with the infinite value of knowing Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. You see, being in good standings with Yahweh Shai is infinite value. Okay, we really got to consider what's being said. You see, knowing Yahweh Shai, being in good standings with Yahweh Shai is infinite value, man. You can't put a number on it of being in good standings with Yahweh Shai, because you're going to be blessed forever. Okay? The men that are in good standings with Yahweh Shai, when he returns, you can't put a number on the reward. Okay? Because the reward is eternal. You're going to be a joint heir forever. You see? You can't put a number on it. Okay? These things we got, all right, it can be numbered. Okay? The number of cars you got. You see? The number that's in your bank account. Okay? Pair of shoes you got. You see? Etc. etc. Women. How many bottles of liquor? All these things can be numbered. But what Yahweh Shai coming with is forever. It's something that can't be numbered. It's an infinite value. It can't be defined. You see? And we have everything we need to be in good standings with Yahweh Shai. That's all we need. Okay? We have the privilege, all right, to please Yahweh Shai and serve Yahweh Shai every day. That's all we need. Okay? And as we serve him, he puts us in a position to where we good. And not only, the material things that he provides, but the peace of mind. Okay? You see, you know how much peace of mind, all right, comes with not being a slave to the lust, to the flesh, not being a slave to lust. Okay? Not having the feeling as if you're missing out. Okay? Not having to be on the scene, having the peace of mind with the simplicity in your Yahweh Shai. Okay? The simple things, man. I would rather be, making the oil, burning incense, listening to some classical music, studying. You see, I get much more fulfillment than doing that, than going to a club, all right, than going to a bar, okay, than, being on the scene of, Like, nah, that's my peace. You see? Like, that's the thing that calms me down, you know? So, Yahweh Shai has given us all the tools we needed, okay, to serve him and be pleasing unto him. And he's going to reward us forever for that. So, what we want ain't even a priority, man. Okay? And guess what? There are certain wants, all right, that the Lord gives, but he gives it in his due season, man. Okay? Let's finish this. It says, with the infinite value of knowing, all right, say, yes, everything is worthless when compared with the infinite value of knowing Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, my Lord. For his sake, I have discarded everything else, counting it all as garbage, so that I could gain Yahweh Shai. Apostle Paul was a minimalist, man. He had what he needed as he was traveling, okay? He had what he needed. You see? He was catching hell, shipwreck, sometimes starving, okay? Sometimes not even having enough clothing, all right? But he still had the ability to edify and teach the churches, man. Keep the order amongst the churches, man, overseeing the churches. You see? And that was his peace. That was his joy, okay? To see, brothers building, all these different Israelite foreigners, okay, that was into Greek culture now, believing and following Yahweh Shai, okay, living a life, okay, being conformed to Yahweh Shai. That was his joy, okay. He wasn't concerned with his wants, okay. He was cool with his necessities, okay, and he wasn't concerned with status, because Apostle Paul could have been elite, he could have been, high up in Israel and in Roman society, man. Okay, but he said he counted that shit as dumb. Like, he knew Yahweh Shai now. Okay, so none of those things compared in value, okay, when it came to Yahweh Shai. And we really gotta be appreciative that we're able to serve Yahweh Shai, okay, and being occupied in what we don't got. That's offensive, man. Here it is, Yahweh Shai dealing with us, man. Every day he's waking us up. We're clothed, we're fed every day. Okay? You got people working 2 jobs and homeless. You see? Got people working 2, 3 jobs and they're homeless, man. I bumped into one of my cousins yesterday or day before, and he told me he was working 3 jobs, man. You see? And I was joking. I said, so you never off? He said, I don't know how you know. You see? There's some people out here in some real strenuous situations, man. Okay? But here it is, we're clothed. We got our daily, necessities. And we have, the opportunity to serve Yahweh Shai, man. We should be extremely grateful and appreciative, man. Okay? We don't deserve, okay, all these wants we think that we entitled to. You don't deserve to be in certain situations that you think you're entitled to. Who the fuck are we? Who the fuck are you? Okay? Nobody owes us a goddamn thing, man. Okay? We were bought with a price. You see? So, let's go here. And see, as we read these scriptures, we really gotta believe these things, man. We really gotta apply patience, man. Okay? Because being deprived, yes, of suffering, but hey, that suffering is refining us, man. Being deprived of a particular thing, we all have been deprived and want particular things, and you see, your situation ain't special. Okay, get in line. You see, like we didn't have to do without, we didn't have to suffer, we didn't been deprived. Okay, now let's go here. I'm gonna go back to the minimalist in a minute too. I believe that that's the Rock 24, 39. Let's get that real quick. you know. And we have to understand, man, it's a season. The scripture says there's a time under the sun for everything, man. So there's a season for the Lord to give us, you know, particular things, okay, that we want. All right. So you go to Sirach 39 and 33. It said, all the works of the Lord are good, and he will give every needful thing. You see that? Emphasize on the needful. Okay. And I pray it should be that the Lord give us needful things to sustain us in his truth, man. Okay. That should be our priority, man. All right. Certain little desires and wants, okay, they come when they come. Okay. But the Lord gonna give us what's needful for us, man. You know, to sustain us in the truth, man. Okay. Sometimes, you know, the Lord, sometimes, well, in due time, the Lord gonna give us whatever is needful for us in that season, man. Okay. In due time, the Lord gonna give us whatever is for us in that season. Okay. To continue in this truth, man. Continue in this faith, man. And to grow, man. We here to grow. We're here to develop, man. We're here to, you know, abound in this thing. Okay? We're here to abound. You see? As we become more dead to this world, our wants should begin to diminish anyway. You see? You know, as I grow in this thing and mature in this thing, and, you know, the Lord is perfecting, you know, our hatred for this world, our wants should diminish anyway, man. Okay? I really don't want much out this world, man. Okay? You know, we got a culture that we've been stripped away from, and now we're able to tap back into it. You know, I'm occupied in that. You know, get it twisted. You know, I can kick it. You know, I can kick it with the best of them. But see, it's a season for that, man. I don't need that. Okay, you see, that's something that you know, I don't have a sparkle in my eye to do that every second, every chance I get. No, man. You know, because those moments, hey, they come in their due season. Because sometimes it's needful for us to kind of unwind and kick it, you know, then get back to it. Okay? But the Lord, he provides the season for that, the opening for that, man. You see? So, going back into it, Sirach 39 and 33, it said, all works of the Lord are good. And and he will give every needful thing in due season. Okay? So it's according to the due season we get particular things, man. Okay? And in the due season, guess what? We're mature enough to handle that. Okay? A lot of us think we got it. Don't got it. You know, and some things too, we really gotta be honest with ourselves, man. Certain things I thought, you know, I was ready for. I wasn't ready for that, man. You know? Because we live in a world where most people overestimate their ability, man. You know? And as we mature in the faith, we got to have, you know, a real assessment of what we're capable of, man. You know? You see? A lot of things, you know, we think we got. We think we good. We think we strong right here, man. We ain't built for that like that, man. You know? So we have to always be, you know, mindful of that. You see? So going back to here, it says, while it can refer back to being a minimalist, while it can refer to political conservationism or simple art in a broader popular sense, it describes someone who reduces their possessions and distractions to achieve a simpler, more intentional life, prioritizing meaning and well-being. Okay? Read this again. It describes someone, okay, who reduces their possessions and distractions to achieve a simpler, more intentional life, prioritizing meaning and well-being, man. You know, and I've been in position where I've been stretched too thin, man. I done been all over the place, man. Trying to be everything for everybody. I done did that, you know? And now, as I begin to strip away, all right, at the excess and start to live more intentional, man, I'm more productive, okay, on and off camera. And, all right, I have an environment of peace, you see, without all these expectations, you know? And then these expectations be of nothing, be vain, okay? So having a minimalist mindset, which, let's go here. Let's get this. Yahweh Shai, what did he say? It's the book of Matthew chapter 6. Okay, I believe it's 6. No, man. All right. This is the book of Matthew chapter, I believe it's 6 or 5. Let's see. This is Matthew 6, and I started at 22. It said, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Okay? So we want to keep our eye single towards Yahweh Shai. Okay? That's the focus. That's what we should have a hyper focus on, is Yahweh Shai. And you go to this word, keeping our eye single, okay, which is our mind, our focus, keeping it single, okay? But they say, the tunnel vision, you see? But when you go into this word single in the Greek,
Strong's G 573,
haplus, and it goes into simple. You see that? Simple, single, good, fulfilling its office, sound. Good, fulfilling its office, sound. So when we begin to get rid of the excess, okay, we're able to be more intentional, okay, to where we can fulfill our office. You see, once we get that job well done in the chair, once we make it on the chairs, and Yahweh Shai say, job well done, okay, that's it. We blessed forever after that. You see? None of these little moments in time and the little pettiness and, people and their emotions and feelings, they mad because you ain't around like that. And, you see? That shit not going to count. That shit not even going to matter. That shit not even going to be a thought. Okay? It's not even going to exist. Okay? These little moments that we miss, okay, on this side, as we're occupied in fulfilling our office, man. And what puts us in the best position to fulfill our office, okay, is being intentional, okay, with less distractions as possible, man. Okay? And it look different for every brother. Every brother got they office in the truth, they light, their talents, okay? Yahweh Shai specs, different from different brothers. Okay, that's why the parable of the talents, men were given, different talents. And the more talents a man was given, the more that was expected of him. Okay? So everybody, circumstance, okay, and their trial and their journey is gonna be different. You see? But we all can tap into being more intentional and less distracted, okay? And not overly concerned with the wants that we don't got. Cause it's a guarantee we got the needs. Hell, that's why you can goddamn complain. Okay, you got enough nutrients, okay, to complain. That's a token to show that you got everything you need. Okay, you got enough nutrients and minerals to pout. You see, yeah, that's a token. All right, that your ass got all the essentials that you need. You see. So going back from there, let's go here. Get a couple more precepts. Daily benefits. Let's see, daily. Yep, Psalm 68 and 19. It said, "Blessed be the Lord who daily loaded us with benefits, even the power of our salvation," man. So daily we're loaded with benefits, man. You know, daily the Lord gives us inspiration and topics to do lessons. You know, daily we have time, you know, to communicate with like-minded men, tap into a network of this wealth of wisdom of like-minded men daily. You know, we're constantly seeing signs, we're constantly, you know, reading something or watching something that's, you know, that's drawing us closer to our power. So daily we're being loaded with benefits, man. You know, and we can't sleep on that. We gotta appreciate that. Okay, let's go here to Psalm 103. Let's get this in Psalms 103. Psalms 103 and 2. It said, let all, let all that I am, this is the NLT, let all that I am praise the Lord. May I never forget the good things he does for me. May I never forget the good things he does for me, man. Okay? And being too occupied in the wants and what we don't have will make us be unappreciative of the daily benefits that we're loaded with in the truth, man. You know, the apostles and elders, man, we have the privilege, you know, just having that serious minded, you know, leadership, good leadership, man. Okay. Every day the apostles are a constant example, okay, of how we should be in this thing, man. Okay, the mindset, the diligence, okay, and we have access to that daily. You see, and you concerned about, you know, we can be concerned about things that we don't got and just overlook. Okay, and I say this: if the truth is born, then there's a good chance that you're not growing. Okay, because when you're growing in something, you know, hey, you're engaged in it. Okay, as you see prophecies happening and all these things happening, and plus, you know how the Lord is maturing us in this thing, man. Because there's one, see, if you're bored, you're not engaged like that, because there's so much to tap into. Okay, there's so much we don't know. You know, so if you find yourself bored all the goddamn time, that means you're not engaged like that, man. Okay, like I say, there's so, you know, much. You know, I'm still learning how my body works. You know, smells, how, you know, different aromatherapy, mixed the smells, and you know, it's so much to learn about. You know, the herbs, the precepts, the histories, the breakdowns, the words. Okay, then watching this devil, what this nigga is up to. Okay, all the madness he got going on. So there is no way that you can be bored in this truth. Okay, and you're fully engaged. Okay, into this thing. You see, when you're fully engaged into something, okay, hey, time flies, man, because you're engaged and you're growing and you're active. Okay, just like when we was engaged in whatever we was into the world, man, it wasn't a dull moment. Okay, but then, you know, people come to the truth. Well, I'm bored and I'm tired, you know, but damn, when you was in the world, why? Because you was engaged. Okay, you look forward to the BS. Okay, so in the truth, we have to remain engaged. Okay, because this is a journey, man. And Yahweh Bashim Al Shah is always showing new things, man. You know, he's always dropping gems, you know, and it's always, you know, a way to level up. Okay, so let's go here. Now, end it here. This is the book of Philippians, chapter 4. Okay, because greatness is repetitive, man. Okay, but hey, you gotta fall in love with the process, man. Greatness is repetitive. Okay, every day, same routine. All right, get your black ass up, man. Same routine every day. Okay, everybody want to be great. Nobody want to deal with the process, the discipline. Okay, the sacrifice, man. All right, so hey, success. Okay, is repetitive, man. Greatness is repetitive, man. Okay, and we're talking about being, you know, joint heirs with your Howard shot, man. Come on. Okay. This is Philippians 4. You know, I'm speaking to myself first and foremost. You know, I be on my own ass. You know, Philippians 4 and 6 in the NLT says, don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell the Most High what you need and thank him for all he has done. And thank him for all he has done, man. You know, so we're not here to be stressed out over some goddamn wants. Okay? You see? That ain't it. And see, we're not here to be overly concerned about, wants and shit that we, putting these burdens on ourselves and trying to do this and do that. Nah, man. All right, we here for the essentials, man. Okay? we just gotta survive till your house shot get back, man. Okay? And we gotta be super comfortable. You see? Hey, he keeping us, man. We kept, we provided for. You see? So, just wanted to go into that, and so you got pray for what we need, man. Pray for the right mindset. Pray for, the necessities, man. Even in the tribulation, man, be thankful that the Lord is bringing us through the tribulation, man, and refining us in the tribulation, man, and not letting these things destroy us, man, or pray not to be offended. Okay? So, Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified. Till next time I say shalom, Kwam Yashala, Abba soon, shalom.